This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the Gulf of Mexico as their backdrop, broadcasting live from the Margaritaville Resort on Fort Myers Beach, here are the hosts of the dinkiest podcast in America, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Let's be honest, you guys made it sound louder than it really is. So I thank you very much for that. Turn your
that was small group, but mighty.
Very big, loud crowd. So who won the game last night? Did the Packers or the Eagles win? I mean, we left here and the Packers were going crazy.
I was afraid of that. The Eagles won.
The Eagles did
good
win.
for them, but
nice.
That's not who we were.
We want to thank everybody for coming out last night. I think we probably had 150 people here to watch the Packers and the Eagles play. And it was a great turnout and just a good time. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out for the majority, but there were Eagle fans here last night that were enjoying the game. And there's so many things coming up next week. We'll tell you about it. But first, we wanted to have Ellie come on. Ellie Bunting, everybody knows Ellie from the Historical Society, the Estero Island Historical Association. And Ellie's got some stuff coming up because, can you believe it? It's going to be 2 years since Hurricane Ian came through this tiny little island and wiped out just about every structure, including doing some significant damage to the building.
Yes. We had 7 feet of water in the building and lost a lot of our artifacts and a lot of the files that we had. But we've put a lot of it back together again. So we're hoping that on the anniversary, we can have an exhibit and invite people in to see what we've been working on.
You know, we were talking about small but mighty of this group, and that building, albeit small and a cottage, that thing held up. I mean, considering all that went on, it was amazing how well that it held up. I mean, and it's so nice on the inside and the wood and everything. So it's all good now?
It's all good now. The cottage itself is 1921, and it had dade pine walls and cypress ceiling. So the water damage did not get inside the walls or the ceiling.
And one of the many volunteer efforts that the Yellow Army has had on Fort Myers Beach was to put the help you with the landscaping out front. And how's that holding up?
It's doing well. The Friends of Matanzas Past Preserve have been working back there for their butterfly garden. And,
I love butterflies. You know what's my favorite butterfly again?
Monarch.
A monarch butterfly. Oh, I used to collect butterflies as a young child, and
you're not supposed to do that.
You don't collect butterflies? Some people have butterfly collections when they die.
Yeah,
you put them in like some kind of folder.
A glass and like you pin up their wings. It's a little weird.
Are there a lot of butterflies over there at the building?
Not yet, but I think they're hoping that this is going to attract them.
Last time we were there, the preserve area was kind of still damaged. Is it ready to roll now? Is it open?
No, unfortunately, the county's saying 4 years for the
cut it out
boardwalks to get fixed.
Jesus,
that's ridiculous.
They could build a pier faster. They could build a boardwalk. This county.
We're hoping to get the trails open.
Yeah.
Be cleaning those up, but the boardwalk that goes back to the bay is pretty much.
And it's a shame because it was relatively new.
It was very new. They just finished it.
Now, I was doing my walk around this morning, and Alex was telling me about the Calusa Blue Way. Is that a kayak thing or
Well, it's a waterway that you kayak or whatever. Yeah.
What? You can walk it, swim it?
Well, you can't walk it. It's in water unless you're Jesus.
Well,
I mean, you're not walking it.
Well, I mean, come on.
No.
So does it come by the back of your area there?
Yes, it did. And back there, they had a really nice kayak launch.
Yeah.
And a place to keep your kayak. But can't get back there now.
What about that little pavilion area with the seating?
That's good. That's
So what are you going to have shows there? If you want me to do, come and do 30 minutes of comedy anytime.
Oh, great. Yeah,
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah. So
She
no.
said that's a hard pass.
So what kind of shows will you have back there? I mean, what puppet shows or
Well, I don't know about that.
no puppets?
Well, we would,
Anything.
entertain anything to bring people back there.
What you're just could say it's a dumbass question, Ellie. Feel free.
No, Ed, if you want to do a puppet show for me, I'll put it on.
Don't you think puppets
No,
are
this
kind of
is
creepy?
enough of a dog and pony show right here.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you was how are the signs? Now I know all the nice signs that were painted and crafted along Fort Myers Beach that were put up after the storm are now at the Historical Society. Do you have a room for that, or what are you doing with all the signs?
Right now, Jesse Titus is taking a bunch of them home to
Fix them up, clean
fix
them
them
up.
up, make
Yeah,
them look a little bit less.
yeah. They were out.
faded
They were out in the
Yeah.
elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're going to bring them back and have a work party when we can coat them with something that will keep them.
Every day of my life is a
Brown.
work party,
Yeah.
Ellie. I know what you're saying. So the other thing that you what
Go
you want to
ahead.
ask a question?
No.
It's
I
your
want to
show
give
if you
her
want to ask a
something.
question.
So when you stop
So
rolling,
the other thing was you were selling coasters and you were selling Afghans and you were selling
your book.
your book. How are the book sales going?
Book sales are going well. In fact, we're in our next order. We're almost out of them right now.
Wow.
Oh, your
so-
dad's watching. Not your dad, Ellie. Your dad's watching.
Hi, Dad.
So her dad calls her yesterday. They're having this long conversation. Her dad says, "Oh, I'll see you tomorrow." And she's thinking, "Well, what does that mean? How am I going to see you tomorrow? Like you're in Orlando and I'm in Fort Myers." And she goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, I watch the show every Saturday, Stinky." Why did he call you Stinky, by the way? Is that
he
some
does.
kind of
He calls
nickname
me.
that
He calls me Pumpkinhead because
Oh,
I'm
gigantic? She's
have
got
had
the
a very
biggest.
large.
Yeah, she's got the
cranium.
biggest female head ever. I mean, it's like a
Female
world
head.
record head. So let's back to Ellie. So Ellie, how big is your head? Oh, never mind.
No, you. She's.
We
You
love
got
Ellie.
a normal
She could
size
take
head.
it. She could take a joke, unlike you, dear. So the
Please.
coasters still available?
We've got, well, we're working on the coasters. We've got I think there were 12 signs that Keith gave us originally. And
You say
people-
Keith like everybody
Yeah, I'm
knows.
sorry, Keith Wilkins, the
Yeah. Interim town manager.
town manager
Yeah.
during the storm. And he did all the streets, but he only did the coasters and posters for 12. So we're trying to get them.
Because you have so much time to do all that stuff. You're trying to get the
Eventually,
rest
we
of the
hope to have
streets.
everybody's street on a poster. That's the problem right now. If your street's not on the poster, they don't want the poster.
And for
Right.
anybody that doesn't know, the Historical Society building is kind of behind the school. It's a really cool old cottage. It was built in like the 1800s or something,
No,
right?
she already said it.
Oh, you did?
You were sitting right
1921.
here.
1921. And so, Ellie, why are you so?
Can I ask? Is that a water tank behind it? What is
Yeah.
that behind there?
Yes, that's it's a cistern that they used to use, and
That-
it came from a house. I believe it was on Hercules.
Right.
I love
Totally
that street.
filled with dead bodies right now.
Well,
though, right?
God knows
Yes, sir.
what's in it
Yeah.
now.
So why are you so involved in the Historical Society? Why do you love doing what you do?
Well, I've grown up on the beach my whole life, and
And you were a teacher, right?
yes, I was a teacher for 50 years. So
50 years.
yeah, I really love history.
Who was the worst student you ever had that's still around now that we could berate about that? I mean, is there somebody that's on the island like that is like the worst student? Come on, Ellie, you're honest all the time.
Oh,
Nobody's
no.
watching. Yeah, come on, pick one.
Oh, I could not do
Yeah.
that.
Did you
That
ever
would-
whack somebody on the knuckles for being a dumbass?
I taught college, so I didn't have a whole lot of.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah.
Not a lot of
I
dumbasses.
forget their
at college.
names after they leave
Yeah.
generally because you don't
Okay.
see them anymore.
So go ahead.
So I just want to.
Wait, we got to ask why she's here. She's here for a specific reason, not just because
Well,
we
if
love
you
her.
would stop
There, come on.
peppering her with questions.
Stop filibustering
All
the
right.
interview.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Go
Why
ahead,
are you
Ellie.
here, Ellie?
Okay, I'm here because our exhibit that we want to do on the anniversary of Ian is on our hurricane history. So I don't want it to be just about the destruction. I want it to be about memories of what we lost. So I'm looking for coolie cups, hats, shirts,
Like from different
coffee
businesses
cups,
along the
for
island.
anything. And it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter if it was a business that was destroyed in the hurricane or a business that went for another reason, like development or whatever.
Yeah.
So
So for an example, it could
So
be a salty.
memorabilia,
memorabilia, yeah.
What about that thing, that beer
I
tap?
know I should do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know which bar it's from though. So like the salty crab T-shirt or a salty
Yeah.
crab coaster or a salty crab something
I have
because
one from the cottage.
perfect.
cottage
Yes,
stuff. Yeah,
cottage
because that's
stuff,
never going to be rebuilt again.
Charlie's
Stop.
Boathouse, the Outrigger, anything. And if it's, I don't care, a book of matches, and we'll give
Nice.
it back if it's.
Yeah,
not-
if you want it,
you know,
if it
you
means
really
a lot to
need
you.
it, we'll take it down and give it back to you when we're
Really
done.
want that book of matches.
No,
back.
we're not giving anything back, Ellie. No, that's how you get them to bring it in, but you're not giving it back. So, all right. So the presentation of all this will be on the 28th. This 2-year
Right.
anniversary. Is there going to be like a specific time for it all?
We're probably going to be open most of that day.
Yeah, that's a Saturday. Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff going on that day too.
Yeah,
So
there's a town. The town doesn't know the specifics yet, but the town is going to have something at Santini Plaza at 8:00, and then we have our free lunch for folks at the Pink Shell at 12:30. So, I mean, 2 years, it's not as big as 1 year or maybe like 10 years or 20 years, but it's still something to kind of.
Yeah.
I promised I wasn't going to put any of the pictures up from that, from that destruction era of it. We want to see like today. You want to see the new buildings
Right.
going up, the new houses going up.
So if people have stuff, you want them to call you, drop it off, email you. How will people?
probably the best way is to email me.
Okay, give out your
Oh,
email.
Monasterio Island Historic Society at Gmail.
Okay.
Okay. Jesse Titus says hello. We love Jesse. And let's see. Chris King said that she found a menu on the beach
That's
last year
right.
from Shuckers.
That's
Oh,
right.
great.
Another-
I remember
that would be
cool,
Yeah,
right?
That'd
Yeah.
be great.
Now, are you going to be like standing there saying, well, this is a menu from Shuckers, and Shuckers was built in 1723, and I used to waitress there, and you're going to be like, is it going to be like a tour guide, or it's just like come through and
I think it's going to be, there's some stuff
Like a
is
self-guided
history,
thing.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going to explain every single thing, but
how can people
Yeah.
buy your book?
probably the best way is to go online to the Historic Society website, and it'll click you into I think it really only got about 10 copies left right now.
Nice, very nice. I know.
But
Over the, it's like
200 more are coming. So
it's been like a year that you wrote
Yep.
it, right? A year
Yeah.
ago. How many total books you think you sold?
800.
800 books. And what
Wow.
what was the gist of the book in 30 seconds or less?
It was everything of the lost icons. It was the businesses that we lost, a little bit of history about them and the cottages. And
What are you looking for?
Nothing.
Oh, all right.
okay. We're also looking for cottage pictures of some of the cottages that are gone, because we want to have those up and just show what they used to look like.
Okay, dear, go ahead.
All right.
Now's your time to shine, wife.
Unless I shut your microphone off, I will never get through anything. So it was, there we go. Perfect. You could exit station. So it was after the storm. I don't remember how long after the storm. And I apologize because I don't remember who did this, but someone gave us these pictures. It's from a photographer that was known on the beach, Jan Miller. And so some of them, we were saying some of them are of the beach and then some of them are not, but we're going to give them to you so that you can go through them. Did you see some that were?
Yeah, there was the one I saw was a good picture of the north end of Bowditch before
You're
it was
totally unorganized. Nobody that's watching the show can see your pictures, dear. Oh, they're
Yeah,
so
that's it.
nice.
This is
Very
a-
nice. Yeah. So, well, you're giving it away. This is all going to be on display at the Historical Society. So,
She didn't say that.
Oh.
I'm just giving them to her if
Well,
she wants them.
Yeah, look at that. That's all Bowditch. I mean,
Very
that's what it
nice.
used to look
Before
like.
that's what it used to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. So, all right.
You'll have to figure out what
Yeah.
some of them are because it's a mix of on and
very
off
nice.
islands.
Yeah,
So
very nice for
you
people
can
to.
take them and we
Ellie, how come-
appreciate.
How come your husband didn't come today? He always comes to the show. Where is he?
He's at the Historical Society, putting in a sink and
Oh,
getting us
you,
ready.
you got him working.
He's working for sure.
Do you need any
right, wait a
volunteers
minute.
for anything between now and the 28th?
Um,
If you do, you
I'll
let me know. All right.
Off the top of my head, I can't. think
Okay.
of anything.
All right. I just want to say that it was donated in the memory of Jan Miller, a local photographer, also a local DJ at Yucatan, Jimmy B's, and Dusseldorf's,
Okay, dear.
given by Mary Greilich.
All right. You have no idea.
Hey.
All right.
All right, there you go.
Great,
Thank
thank you very much.
One last time, Ellie, how can people get in touch with you to drop off some of this memorabilia?
Estero Island Historic Society at gmail.com. And we'll be there.
All right.
On Wednesdays, definitely. I'll be there most of the day on Wednesdays.
Somebody did ask me what the regular hours of the Historical Society are.
We hope they're going to be Wednesday and Saturday from 10 to 12
Awesome.
once we get people to volunteer to help.
Gotcha. All right, Ellie. Ellie Bunting, everybody, from the Estero Island Historical Society. Thank you, Ellie. Can we give Ellie a big hand? And if you have anything that you want to pass off to her and you want to give them to me, I'll drive them down to the Historical Society because I love going down there and practicing my comedy in the backyard there all by myself. All right, everybody, we have a busy week coming up, including the first debate between the four candidates running for. It's really one seat that's open between Scott and Greg. If we're being honest about it, that's really what's going on. But all four candidates will be there on the 12th, which is why are you guys staring at me like that? On the 12th, which is Thursday, at Nervous Nelly's at 5:30. You're welcome to come to Nervous Nelly's to watch the debate and ask questions live, or you can watch on the Facebook and the YouTube and ask questions online. And then Friday the 13th, we're going to be doing a show from the Margaritaville Pool Stage to benefit the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club. And that means that you get in for free if you pick up one of these blue flyers at the show today, at the show tomorrow, or by printing it out off our website or Facebook page. And the reason that it's free, one of the reasons, is Alex King. If you saw the walk around this morning, Alex was a great tour guide for us to see all the houses in that development down there, Mandalay and Gulf Island, Bayside, which is very cool. If you didn't see that, check it out. Alex King sponsors and participates in many local events, boating and fishing on Fort Myers Beach. He's a kayaker. He's on American Dream TV. He's the host of American Dream TV, and he likes to shark fish. I didn't know that until I read this ad right here, that he likes to shark fish. So if you have $980,000 burning a hole through your pocket, you can call Alex right now and buy a piece of property right here in Fort Myers Beach at 239-849-3663. That's 239-849-3663. All right, right now we have two special guests from Naples. I think, well, they're not from Naples. They have an office in Naples, right? Your office is in Naples. Noel Davies and Jared Duke are here to talk to us about insurance and contractors and how they can help you get through some of the issues that you might be dealing with. And thank you guys for coming on. Noel,
thanks for having us.
And Jared. And, you know,
Sorry that you guys had to miss. Somebody missed a Chuck E. Cheese party, right? So
What do you
sorry
mean by
about
that?
that.
My wife might be watching, so.
Oh. Wait, was there a Chuck E. Cheese party going on, or so? What
Yeah,
happened?
no, you held them up. See, now they
Oh,
had to
sorry.
miss it, and it's a big problem. So,
Saturday kids activities.
Oh,
They
kids, gotcha. Chuck E. Cheese.
how old are
Yeah.
your kids?
Mine are 6, 4, and 2.
Holy
Wow.
moly, man! You
Yup,
are
busy
And
at home.
And I have 6 and 4.
wow.
Wow.
5 kids between you. Now, how did you guys meet to put this law firm together?
So we both moved back to town. After law school, and we were both working downtown Fort Myers for different firms, and we met at happy hour and stayed friends for a while, and then finally got the idea to branch out.
And apparently,
So you didn't know each other before?
Yeah, so we actually both grew up in Fort Myers. Jared's an ECS guy, went to Fort Myers High. We were both working for like large law firms, and then took the jump
I
about
see.
4 years ago, right in the middle of COVID.
Where'd you
and
go to law school?
I went to Florida State.
And NYU.
oh wow! So, and you both have moose in your hair today. Like,
Oh,
I mean, really? They both have. Like, how old are you guys?
I'm 36.
Yeah, 37.
37. See, I was walking on the beach today, and they had this marine
Here we
recruiting
go.
thing going on, and the kids out there, you see, this is how infantile I am. They had these 4 mobile pull-up bars there, and the kids were 16 through 18. I don't know, they were about to get their asses kicked or something. You know, one of the girls that was there said, "Yeah, I need to be more disciplined. That's why I'm here." I'm like, and I almost asked her, "Why do you need to be more disciplined?" But she was. They were ready. I wanted to compete against them in pull-ups because, you know, when you're 60 and you see kids like that, you want to show off that, right? That's what you want to do,
so
right? You
what
want to
happened?
show off
Well,
that.
especially when you look like that.
Yeah, no, they
Jeez.
didn't want no piece of me. Those
Yeah.
kids, they wanted nothing to do with me.
You got
No.
12 in.
No, I would have got 12 in, but they were saying they could do 20 or 30, and I was like, dude, little kid, put your money where your mouth is, man. You're about ready to get your ass kicked by these Marines. But no, there were about 30 kids from Cape Coral and Fort Myers, and it was just weird.
And there
They
were
just-
Marines there?
yeah, they were
Huh.
they were
You're not
recruits or
explaining
something.
it right.
They were recruits. Well, I had never seen anything like that on the beach. They were just there.
Working out?
They were doing some kind of recruiting thing on the beach. I was like, well, this is weird, but I
Hmm.
mean, good for them. I mean, they're getting ready to go into the Marines, and I guess you got to start them young if you're going to kick some ass when they get in their 20s, right?
There you go.
So,
I
the-
should have prepared
can I-
you that
yeah,
the
there's
conversation
gonna be a lot of
zigs,
sidebar stuff.
zags.
So, is that a Rolex you're wearing there?
I was, and I
I
didn't
mean,
tell you
that's a
that
nice
either.
one.
It's not.
It's not
Okay.
a Rolex. Well, I mean, how much did that watch cost?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
18,000?
No.
All right. What about you?
Phony.
This was a gift. I don't know.
Nice.
Not a Rolex. And are
No.
you wearing Cole Haan shoes? No.
He's wearing sandals.
I'm
All right.
wearing reef
Okay.
sandals. Yeah.
So, why did when you guys
Sorry, Daniel. if
Wait.
Daniel's watching.
when you guys started your firm, what? It's the office in Naples. How come? Is it in Naples?
No, we have an office in Naples and one
That's
in
what I
Bonita
thought I
as
saw
well.
on the
Yeah.
email. Yeah.
Bonita and Naples.
So
yeah.
I honestly, I totally have forgotten how we connected. Like it's been because I think I asked you to come on the show 6 months ago, and you were like "f off" or something. You were too
Yeah,
busy.
all right. Ed,
Chuck E.
all
Cheese
right.
kind of stuff going on. I mean, what? How did we connect? Like, Patrick Van Ness is here, and you guys were chatting. I don't even know if that was the connection. So, I mean, that's how
we're-
do you know
we're
him?
friends with Patrick. I mean,
I see.
you reached out, I think. So we
Yeah. You might have been on the newsletter or something. I was like, wow, an attorney reads my stupid newsletter and watch what's going on. So, no, enough about all that. So, like the insurance nightmare that people are going through right now is incredible. I mean, it's almost. I know people that are watching are going to make this sound. No, I'm a broken record, but these people have paid their premiums, and then when it's time for them to get right, these insurance companies totally screw them. They totally stab them in the back, and 2 years later, some of them are still fighting. Why?
Well, I always say that insurance companies are in the business of denying claims. I mean, they're here to make money. And I'm not an insurance lawyer. I would never call myself a pure insurance lawyer, but a lot of our clients are dealing with it. And we're seeing all the same things you guys are seeing, but there's a ton of litigation out there. And I think it's a reaction to how many claims there are, right? So the insurance companies are trying to do what they can to survive. And so there's this huge conflict because there are a lot of, there's a lot of interesting, not lawyers like us, but there's a lot of law firms that partner with roofing contractors from all over the place that chase storms, right? And some claims are legit, some claims aren't, right? So I think it's the insurance companies, rightfully or wrongfully, I don't represent insurance companies at all, but I think they're trying to cut corners where they can,
Do you think the state is on the right path to help consumers with these new laws about lawsuits, or they're more in bed with the insurance companies?
I'm sure the insurance
Welcome to
lobby.
the show.
Yeah, I'm sure the insurance. I'll go. I'll
Yeah,
keep
go
talking. I think the insurance lobby is probably stronger than the lobby for all of us,
Right.
right? So, again, not an insurance lawyer, but we partner with a firm on the hurricane claims. So we kind of act as the liaison between our clients and this firm that we've partnered with. And I know that he's expressed frustration with some of the changes to the rights to attorney's fees, which is the big disincentive for people to fight the insurance company. So I don't know all those. We don't know all those rules in and out, but we're hearing all the same things from the guy that we partner with.
What kind of law do you practice?
Yeah, so
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So real estate construction and real estate development is what I would say. So anything that relates to the real estate aspects of the law, and to Jared's point, there's a number of clients that we've helped or gotten calls from to try to put them in touch with some of the better attorneys on the insurance specialist side, which is not us. We're really all things relating to real estate, but as that connects to to insurance, sometimes we'll have to assist on that. But and then so a lot of my practice, real estate closings, real estate development, and then on Jared's side, he's doing more of the litigation, court facing stuff.
So somebody, because this was a problem a while back, it may still be a problem where a contractor, and I'll use air quotes, comes down, gets money from somebody, doesn't do the right job, doesn't do it well, whatever. I mean, a lot of those. Is that something that you litigate?
Yeah, so I do a lot of that. I have quite a few clients on the beach. So my practice, I don't just represent lawyers. I don't just represent contractors. I like to think that I represent some of the better contractors, the local ones, the ones that have been here for a while that have good reputations. So I serve as general counsel to them. But then I have a lot of folks just like everybody here that got in bed with a bad contractor. And there's a lot in the news with bad contractors right now. I think it's a function of the storm. Obviously, there's just so much work, and the legitimate, reputable contractors, they're so busy. I mean, they got a backlog for years if they wanted it, and so it just created this huge gap in the market for people to flood in from who knows where.
What do you think is wrong with the system, the way it's set up, where somebody can actually not be a general contractor and operate under somebody else's general contractor license and then get work? And the people that may not do the research on a rebuild or whatever they're doing would assume that, okay, they're going through the emotions of a rebuild of a storm, and they meet somebody that's got a smile on his face and, they're a sweet talker, and I need $100,000 up front. I mean, how do you help somebody with that without having to call a lawyer? I mean, what is your advice to people to get it right without having to lose all their money?
Call a lawyer.
Yeah, I guess that's the only way to do it, right?
Yeah, and we've talked about this a lot. We're always shocked at these large transactions that folks will do, right? Buy a house, enter into a $500,000 contract for a remodel, and it might be a one-page handwritten proposal or a 50-page contract, and they just sign it. And then they come to us after the fact, and it's a lot more expensive when you come after the fact than if you say, hey, check out this contract. What do you think about it?
That is a good piece of advice, is to, for people that the ship has already sailed, but going forward is when you're confronted with signing something and you want a contract with somebody, but you want to make sure that there isn't something in there, a loophole, or that you understand everything. And it is cheaper to do it. Just get like a consultation, pay a fee, have someone look at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Way cheaper. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of either of our time to look at that up front and spot things quickly.
Get it right first.
But where it gets really expensive is on the back end, trying to unwind that. And, people are quick to sign things. They want to sign them up. They want to do it, but and maybe it'll take a couple days to look at it, but it really sort of like that prelim glance at it can save a lot of problems later.
Well, and here's one perfect example that's happened over the last few years, especially with the inflation that we're struggling with now. So you go to a contractor, you say, hey, I need to remodel my kitchen or whatever. They say, okay, I'll do it for $100,000, right? And they put in a fixed price in the contract, right? But then they build in language that says, well, the $100,000 is not really $100,000. If prices go up, I can change the price, right? Mm-hmm. And so lumber triples, concrete triples, inflation goes crazy, and so your $100,000 contract that you thought you were signing for $100,000 turns into $180,000, right? So
and you guys would obviously pick that up.
Yeah.
Most people are just trying to say, I need to get back in my house.
Yeah, but that's something you can pick up quickly on the front end.
Yes.
Change that. You got the leverage before you sign. After you sign, you lose it.
Yeah.
Is that a common practice like that? And then, but you can, so when you've worked with people and worked with the contractor, do they take that out of there, or the contractor's like, because I see the point, but on both sides.
Well, for me, it's all about a fair middle ground, right? Because I represent contractors too. And if they are stuck in a contract that's not good for them, I mean, are they really going to be motivated to do a good job? I think it's all about finding a fair middle ground. So you don't want an open-ended contract that the contractor can double if they want. But, if the contractor wants to preserve the right to say, okay, I can increase the cost of the contract by 10% if inflation goes nuts, well, then that's probably a fair compromise.
Yeah.
But it's all about, caps and making sure it's fair.
Right. There's a cap you can put on that so that it's not just open ended.
What is the percentage of nefarious contractors out there right now? 1 to 100%. Which ones are shady?
Well,
What percentage?
The problem is my opinion on that is really skewed, right? It's like a selection problem because people don't call me about the good contractors.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you were just spitballing here between us and our 9 listeners, what do you think the percentage of nefarious contractors are out there? I mean, you read about this Beetle guy or Beatty guy, whatever the hell that is. Yeah, you're laughing because I'm sure the lawyers are making money off that jackball, right? Are you guys have any deals with that situation?
They're going to
I
have to
do.
recuse themselves.
Yeah.
I do.
How many residents or how many people did that contractor impact? Was it a big one? Because I don't think they're what. I'm trying to keep it general. I mean,
We can't talk about any
Right.
specifics. That's
yeah,
fine.
I watched Law and Order when I was growing up. I know what the hell
You're
I
an
can ask.
idiot,
Attorney-client
so that's-
privilege.
Listen, I know you're not
You
medical.
didn't let him answer the question. You
He's
you
not
let him
gonna
skate
answer
right
the
over the
question.
I
question.
would say dozens. I would say
Okay,
dozens
thank
and
you.
dozens.
Thank
Yeah.
I know you're not medical malpractice lawyers, but did you see that story this week about the doctor took out the wrong body
Did see
part
that.
and the guy it
Dude, how
resulted in the
crazy was
guy's
that?
death.
The doctor
A
didn't know the
spleen
difference
and a
between a
liver.
spleen and
They're
a liver.
really very different. Even if a spleen gets big, I mean,
Automatically killed
he
him.
took
I
the
didn't see it.
wrong organ out.
He was
That's
watching the
insane.
Packer game when he was doing that operation. That's what
No.
happened.
I mean, there's.
Terrible.
I mean,
So
How-
the
Totally
spleen
terrible.
was supposed to come out and he
Yeah.
took the liver?
and they took the liver out.
Don't they
He
look
said it-
different? I've
well,
never been inside a human body.
He said it
so
looked
I'm
bigger,
guessing
but
they look different.
they're in different. I mean, so I mean, there's no defense to. I mean,
Oh, man.
just lay down and give
Yeah.
up your license,
So,
and you're. I mean,
All
what
right,
are you going to do?
Why, such a sidebar?
Oh my
Jeez, come on.
God! Oh
So,
my God!
I got a
This lightning
specific-
is coming down.
I got a specific situation I want to ask you about. So, let's talk about a condo. The condo has an HOA, and the HOA apparently, when they have a lawyer, it represents the HOA. Doesn't represent the people. It represents the HOA. This is the way I understand it. If I'm wrong, I want you guys to tell me. This is the way it's explained to me.
Please
the board
do.
of directors of the HOA, essentially.
Right, that's
not
what they
necessarily
represent.
The unit owners.
Right. The unit owner can't call the lawyer and say blah, 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 because they're representing the HOA.
Correct.
So if you get insurance money that comes down and the HOA spends the money with an unlicensed contract and a contractor, and the work's not getting done, and you got this whole cluster F going on now. The people are pissed because they're not getting back in their units. But every time something happens, they're all going to get assessed on it because it's a circle. The whole thing's a circle. And this is happening in one of the condos on Fort Myers Beach, which is how I know about it. I mean, what is a unit owner to do? I stumped him. I stumped the
I
lawyers.
mean, it's a tough situation. I mean, I think
It's a sticky wicket.
ultimately all of those board directors have, I mean, really duties to the unit owners, fiduciary duties to do the right thing, right? So I think that's going to turn on what did they know about the contractor that was hired. I mean, if it's an unlicensed contractor
Mhm.
and there's no
That's the allegation.
qualifications and there's no diligence and all of that, I mean, that's a strong case for those unit owners. If it's something where
But what do they do though? Did they
Do they have to get together and get one lawyer? Do they get separate lawyers?
I mean, they
probably
They
have to
gotta-
unite and get their own lawyer,
Yeah, I
right?
think-
they've
I
got to
think-
get their own attorney.
Yeah, but it would probably be more efficient if they pooled their resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate because now we're 2 years in and they have no idea when they're getting back in their unit. And it's to the situation where they just got a roof before the storm. And
Right.
this contractor went in and said, yeah, you need a new roof. So they put a new roof on with the insurance money when they didn't need a roof. And the units are still, I mean, that's crazy right there, don't you think?
Oh,
How do you
it's-
prevent that? How do you prevent that? If you're a unit owner next storm, how do you prevent it?
I don't know if one unit owner can.
Okay.
I mean, you're electing these people to represent you,
Yeah.
right? And we all know about how elected officials
I think
act,
HOAs.
not always in your best interest.
Don't you think HOA should be illegal? I mean, they are the worst things on the planet, like an HOA. Like, because it's like they think they have so much power. Like, and they're, you know what they're doing? They're sitting in their houses and they're yelling at the person next door because their mulch isn't red enough, right? I mean, that's what they do. That's how much time they have on their hands, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Woo.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys
Do you have
represent
an
HOAs?
HOA where you live?
Oh, I live in one.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get out. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because they're crazy. They're all crazy people. They got nothing else to do. So, how much you guys make? How much money you make a year?
Not enough.
Okay.
They're not rolling the Rolex.
What kind of cars do you drive?
I drive a truck.
Yeah, what kind of
Nice.
truck? Is it a baby truck or a F-150 or
It's a GMC.
nice?
Nice.
How much?
2500.
How much you spend on that puppy?
Oh,
You-
that's attorney client.
Does anybody have
You know,
insurance
most
questions or anything?
people will
anything from
start
the-
falling for that all the time. He'll
Yeah.
ask the most inappropriate questions,
No, tell
and
me the
people
salary.
feel like they
Everyone
have
wants-
to answer.
I
I'm
get
like,
one or two a year. So
you don't have to answer. Now, a lot of the situations we've been talking about, if somebody's going to get an attorney, they have to pay up front. Unlike with the insurance claim, at least for now, if you take it on, you don't, if you don't win, you don't have to pay, correct?
Right.
But is there any other situation where is there any other legal situation where that occurs?
That type of structure is typically for those insurance claims,
Okay.
the car accident stuff,
Med
That's
mal.
medical malpractice, like you mentioned. And
Yeah.
that's that whole no win, no fee, but there's a sizable fee on the back end. Those are all, what we call contingency structures. But it can be, it can be good. It's just it's a different way to do it,
Right.
Well, and the reason that lawyers do that is because there's a pot of money with the insurance company, so there's no
Right.
collection problems, right? So if I represent you against your contractor and I take it on contingency, if we win, the contractor is probably going to fold up and go
Yeah.
out of business. And so
bankrupt,
that
yeah.
collection, it's a
Right.
collection problem.
yeah, it's. I mean, so many crazy stories about the contractors and the insurance down here. I mean, people have just been kicked in the time after time just trying to get back in their house. And so it almost sounds like the best thing to do when you get hit by a storm is call your lawyer first to see if somebody that is not emotionally involved to the situation where you're standing in front of your structure and it's either gone or half gone or something. And then you got this guy driving down the street in his truck with a magnet on the side of his truck saying, I think I can help you.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there are bad people that target vulnerable places like we were after Ian. And I think that's not necessarily going to change as far as call your lawyer. I mean, certainly before you sign something with them,
Yeah.
I mean, and talk to them, get your different proposals, try to do your research. But before you're signing, I mean, you really want to make sure that document says what the guy told you
Yeah.
he's going to say, because sometimes that's not the case.
So DeSantis just signed a new law in that during a state of emergency, the contractors have to give you a 10-day right to cancel now. So and any contract that's signed during that state of emergency has to have in 18-point font this big disclosure that says, hey, this is a state of emergency contract. You have a right to cancel up to 10 days. So that builds in some consumer protection.
Yeah.
If it's an emotional decision and then you find out that this contractor's a scumbag,
Shyster.
you can
Yeah.
send in your notice. And then the other thing that we run into a lot is, especially with contractors that aren't, they're less than scrupulous, they don't know how the lien law works. And so the lien law is really concerning. And just to touch on that a little bit. So if you hire a contractor and the contractor doesn't pay the sub, right? That subcontractor has lien rights against the house.
Oh,
So
Really?
and so the interesting part for everybody
against
is
the house that they're building, not the
Yeah.
contractor's house. Why don't they
No.
put the lien on the contractor's house?
well, the theory is that if a plumber goes and puts in a toilet and doesn't get paid for it, they can't go repossess the toilet. So they get lien rights.
No,
on the
they
property.
go repossess the contractor's toilet.
Nah,
I
that's
mean,
not the way it
that's
works. Yeah.
Wow.
their responsibility.
So what's more interesting and risky for everybody listening is it's really up to the owner to make sure that they're getting lien releases from the sub in connection with paying the contractor's bill.
Nobody knows that.
Nobody knows that. And so what happens is they're paying their contractor hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Contractor goes belly up, and then $50,000 of liens get put on their
what
house.
a bunch of crap.
And the owners come to us and say, "Oh my gosh, I already paid for this, right?" And the lien law says, well, you got to pay twice if you're not getting releases in connection with your payments.
Wow,
Is
I
there
had
anything
no idea.
people can do to protect themselves from that, or that's just the way the law is? There's no contract thing you can
Call a lawyer.
magic.
Call a lawyer. I mean, that goes back to the point we were making earlier. You know, you enter into a $500,000 contract or 100,000, whatever it is,
Without knowing.
That's a big
Yeah.
transaction, right?
Right.
And people don't think to call their, and I get it. We're expensive. You know, all lawyers are expensive. You don't want to pay the $500 or $1,000 fee to review everything. But then on the back end, you know, it's like
way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So people, we
kinda
did this one
depressing
time, the
conversation.
Yeah.
FSBO, the
Well,
for
there's a
sale
lot
by
of people
owner.
going through it. There's a lot of people on the island going through it. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we hear a lot of the stories. Up and
People
down
that
every
are
street.
trying to do their own real estate deal, though, to save, maybe they're trying to save some fees, but you should still pay for review.
You should. Yeah. I mean, that's the same point, right? I mean, if you're buying or selling a house, it's sizable transaction. You know, we always preach getting title insurance on that. So if you're buying something to get title insurance, and that can protect you after the fact. And those are state promulgated rates. So if you use a title company or in Florida, you can use a law firm from that. And that's the same state price. It's based on essentially the price of the home that the insurance premium is for title insurance.
Mhm.
And that makes sure that, you know, if I'm selling my house to Jared, that once he owns it, anything that essentially I had to deal with these liens or other releases that were required, that there's a clean slate for that new owner. So that's I think the biggest point to share on a purchase or sale transaction for a home is it's worth it to get that title insurance, because otherwise you could be on the hook for something that you weren't aware of, and that your the previous owner didn't do
disclose
correctly,
or
Exactly.
yeah.
What is your best advice to homeowners or property owners on how to make sure they pick the right builder, pick the right contractor? Where should they go to DBPR first, or I mean, they could ask their neighbor, but what's the best way to make sure you're picking the right person so you don't get screwed?
You got to verify the license. I think that's like the low bar, right? And then, I mean, social media is very powerful now.
Yeah.
You know, these bad contractors are getting blown up on Facebook.
Yes.
And so, but you know, a lot of people after something bad has happened ask us that. They say, "Well, how could we have avoided this?" But you know, like the guy that you mentioned in Cape Coral, right? I mean, he had a really good reputation for a long time.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was pretty well regarded, and you know, I have my theories on why it happened.
Go ahead and share one.
But
What happened?
It's nothing unique to him. I think it was a builder's price skyrocketed after COVID, right?
Okay.
With the supply chain issues and,
Yes.
and inflation. And so if I contract to build a house for you for 500 grand, right? And maybe pre-COVID, my cost in that is 200 or 250, right?
All right.
Well, then if my price of materials goes to 450 and my margins get squeezed,
Yeah.
I'm going to get desperate. you
So
know?
how did he solve his desperation? Just it was a Ponzi scheme kind of thing?
Well, I'm not talking about anyone in particular.
Okay,
I'm just talking
generally.
because this would have happened to a good contractor or a bad contractor. But I think the bad ones kind of turn it into that, and you know, they gotta
Gotcha.
feed the beast.
Yes.
You know, to
Heard that story. Heard that
Yeah.
story down here too. You just
Yeah.
finding the next job to pay the last job. Eventually it catches up to you.
yeah.
Right?
And here's an interesting comparison. So if you come to us, right, and you give us a retainer for our services, we have to put that into a trust account. So at all times, if the Florida Bar audits our trust account, that $5,000 retainer with your name on it better be in our trust account.
Mhm.
The same concept doesn't apply for builders.
Why?
Great question.
Is it because of the lobby, the builder lobby, or nobody's pushed
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you give a
Yes.
contractor a deposit, it goes into their general operating account
Yeah.
that they can use
it?
to
Draw
do-
from any time.
So the good ones, obviously, you know, the good contractors, they don't need a trust account concept because they're well funded enough.
Good
they're
reputation,
honest,
yeah.
you know, they got good accounting.
But if there was some regulation for that, if there was some rule for that, they'd have no problem doing it either. It wouldn't be,
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt them. right?
Well, I mean, we do it. It's not.
Right.
It's just it's a consumer protection concept, right?
Right.
So that if you give us a $5,000 retainer, we don't go buy a boat with it. You
But
know?
to me, in the
They
state,
should put that. That
yeah,
should be
to me, in
yeah.
the, I didn't even know that, but to me, in the state of Florida, you would think that it would be more common to have something like that for a rebuild because we get hit with so many storms. It would just seem like normal
And
course
so
of
many
doing
people
business.
come in here.
I think on that state of emergency stuff that you were mentioning, I mean, that's something the legislature should really think about because
Yeah.
there are the vulnerabilities when you're dealing with that. And like you said, you're in a rush, you're trying to get
Yeah.
things moving.
Right.
And I mean, that's certainly a piece of state legislation that could come down. And I think if you could limit it to those specific emergency situations, more likely to try to push through the strong
True.
builders lobby.
Yeah. So a little bit of a sidebar, well, a lot of a sidebar, but I'm going to ask you guys anyway. So, because you're not insurance lawyers, you're basically smarter than everybody else. I mean, you know all the law, right? That's what I'm guessing.
It's not true.
Do you have, when you go to law school, do you have to learn like could you do copyright law?
No.
well,
I'm not asking you to do copyright law, but because it's taking me forever to.
we would never do that just because we wouldn't want to get sued for malpractice.
I mean, I've been trying to get my logo copyrighted for like over a year now, and it's cost me an arm and a leg. It's like, why am I wasting my time? It just feels like it's taking
Why
forever.
are you wasting your money?
Right. And-
Everybody's stealing our stuff anyway.
and it's like impossible to get. It's like almost impossible to get anything copyrighted in this country. It's just crazy. But that wasn't my question. So let's just, for argument's sake, you got a guy with a bullhorn standing in the public square, and he's yelling about abortion, and he's talking about God, and he's talking about Jesus, and he's not violating the sound ordinance of a specific town or particular town, but he's really annoying people, and he's really discouraging people from going to this restaurant in Times Square. How do you resolve that without violating the First Amendment or the Second Amendment, whichever one it is?
Definitely First Amendment.
First Amendment. I
Definitely
get them
First
confused.
What'd you say?
Second Amendment first.
I mean,
Is the Second Amendment the gun
could
thing?
be a solution to this problem. But
Not that anyone's advocating
Yeah.
anything like that.
That was a good one, though.
That was good.
So, what is the solution to something like that? Is there ever a solution?
oh man, geez, tough hitting questions here. I don't know if this is a legal opinion, but it's more of a personal opinion. But you got to balance everyone's comfort levels with everyone's free
Dude,
speech rights.
that is the worst
So
answer to
political.
my question. The worst answer. We have a Jesus guy, a preacher that comes to the Times Square. The public square was
I'm not
built for
sure
a
you
specific
should
reason.
even use that
public square.
terminology.
Well, I mean, everybody calls them the street preacher. They're everywhere. They're in downtown Fort Myers. They go to the colleges, but it's so loud, and the kids are walking by. They got pictures of dead
Derek,
babies.
you know the answer to this. I
Well,
don't know why you're
I am
putting
not
them on the
a legal
spot.
scholar.
This one.
Come on, you guys. We have you on for specifically this question.
That
when we
wasn't
talk,
in the itinerary.
when we talk about that on Fort Myers Beach, it drives people crazy. It really does, because the guy has no common sense. I mean, he's got a message that he believes
you
in.
got to go to the town council and change the ordinance.
To what? Good
I don't-
answer. To what? What's the ordinance answer?
I don't know.
Well, then why did you say that? What would be the ordinance change? I want to tell them tomorrow when I see them, when I see the mayor. Change it to what?
Jared said to do this. Yeah.
Oh, you guys got nothing. You see, everybody wants to know about the street
I
preacher.
know.
It's the craziest thing, right, Ellie? It drives everybody on the island crazy, because
No,
he's
the other answer we got was if it borders on harassment. But what is
okay.
I mean,
That's good question.
I
dear,
think
good
you need to
question.
convince them that there's better ways to get your message.
Oh,
Stop.
you're not.
That's not
you're
happening. You're not convincing
You're
this
not
guy.
convincing.
What? Okay. Let's take my wife's angle here. When does it cross from free
What
speech
constitutes
to
harassment?
What
Is verbal harassment a thing, or it has to be physical?
No, I mean you can make verbal threats. That
what's
are,
what
And
what
that,
is
that's
what is it?
prosecutable. Prosecutable.
Can they call the sheriff, and the sheriff, I have it on tape that this guy said what, and then what's the line? What's the
Yeah,
line?
I mean, I don't know, but my
Okay.
guess would be, as a lawyer,
Yeah.
is if you're
Don't use air quotes for
Wait,
yourself.
he's not
You're
really a lawyer?
actually a
Is he a
lawyer.
lawyer or not? You're confusing me now.
uh, I think it's got to be some sort of like physical threat.
No,
like,
no,
I'm
no.
gonna
But
punch
he
you
never
in the
does that.
face.
No, he's never done that. He's never done that.
Well, then he might be fine with his free speech.
Okay,
See, so the thing is, and I'm not going to use the words, but women who might be in bikinis, he's calling them names that are
Yeah.
extremely
C-words.
unflattering.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and- yeah.
is that okay?
yeah.
Is that still
I don't
free
know,
speech?
I think opinions are protected.
Yeah, I think the Supreme Court has totally gone that way. It's just I'm trying to figure out, is there ever a line that somebody crosses other than screaming fire in a
Well-
crowded room? Is there really a line that anyone crosses, or is it always
Well,
protected?
I wonder if it could be slander, but the person would have to call you like something that's definable, like a
That's
murderer
not-
or
but that's
something,
not
right?
slander.
No, because that all falls under defamation, and it has to be
Defamation.
It has to be a false statement,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
An-
well,
an
if I walk
opinion-
by and he says, you're a murdering blah, blah, blah.
But he doesn't say that, so
well,
it's
I
not
know,
a good
but I'm
example.
just saying. Well, I'm just saying that
he probably
that
called
is
his
the
lawyer
level.
and said, "What can I say?"
He's very well lawyered up, and he's won several. He's won a sign ordinance, and the county tried to arrest him for maybe the sign or something, and he's won both times. So I mean, he certainly knows where the line is. But I guess I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of the people in the community. There's all you can do is walk around them. And it's unfortunate for the restaurants. Well, they're not
Yeah.
here anymore. They're gone. But it was unfortunate for the restaurants because he would stand within distance of, okay, I'm bringing out my family to have dinner at this restaurant, and this guy's yelling about dead babies 5 feet away. So it
No, the best advice though is, to ignore that particular individual because you make one false move and
he's got cameras. They's totally cameraed up and the whole thing just in case. But I mean, other people have tried to bring bullhorns and try and shout him down and the whole thing, which I guess is fine. But you never know when he's showing up. It's not like he's there at the same time. But you guys didn't really help out with that at all for crying out loud. You're much better on the insurance
We
thing.
said we were real estate lawyers, man. Come on.
Any final advice you want to give to people that are getting into real estate or rebuilding their home or rehabbing their home so they don't get in a sticky wicket?
I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's
let it rip, man.
read everything closely, right? So to your point about, I don't want to pay for a lawyer to do that. You got to really go through it, right? And if it's a 1-pager or a 50-pager, you got to make sure that those documents say what they said that they're going to say.
And
'Cause
that you
that's not often
understand
the
it.
case. And that you understand it, And if you don't understand it, go ask them. Why does it say that it's for X dollars, but
Right.
it says that this is going to increase? You told me that it was going to be $50,000 job and that was the max. But this seems to say, and usually your instincts are right when you're trying to
Right.
read through that and figure that out. And obviously that's where a good attorney can come in because you can help, confirm that instinct or say, yeah, it really does say that. So they really were lying to you. And we're biased because we don't, to Jared's point, get, we don't
You
we
get
don't
the
get we don't
liars.
get called
Right.
when everything's fine. But
People
But I
should
think-
call you when everything's fine too, just to
just
be
to
safe.
say hello.
just check
Because you could also say, "Hey, I don't think you need me
Yeah.
for this particular."
Oh,
There's
for-
nothing
for
wrong
sure.
with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Or this looks fine. Go ahead, and
Yeah, and a lot of times what I'll tell people, so I have a few construction consultants or experts that I use on litigation, but I'm a big proponent, and again, there's some price sensitivity here. Like not everybody can afford
Right.
all the things that we suggest, but if you can, I suggest having a personal construction consultant paying attention to the contractor, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm hiring the contractor, they're working on my behalf, they're protecting me from everything.
They're not.
No, they're not, right? So if you can, and this isn't legal at all, but if you can hire a third-party construction consultant to make sure that the concrete's getting poured right and to
Yeah.
make sure that they're paying the subs off and
I've learned so much just talking to people on the beach that are rebuilding their house that I never would have known if I was rebuilding my own house, just
Oh,
by
sure.
listening to what they go through.
and especially a lot of folks don't live here full time, right? So they hire
Right.
somebody and then they
Yes.
go back to Michigan and they're not even here to watch the
Right. And they're
contract.
wondering why their house isn't getting anywhere. And
Yeah.
it's all they needed to do was look in the permit portal to see that they didn't get an inspection or something like that. So yeah, it's crazy down here. But there is a lot of construction going on, which is nice to see. So if somebody wanted to call you, not on your cell phone, unless you want to give it out, it's totally up to you, and get in touch with you to protect themselves, what would you suggest? You got people for that, or?
Yeah, so call our office. A nice lady named Morgan will answer.
Oh, I love Morgan.
239-405-8033.
That's it. Listen, next time you guys come on, I expect you to be wearing Rolexes. All right, none of this crappy
They
leather
would like
stuff.
that too.
But thanks so
guys.
much for coming down. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Appreciate it.
Big
Thanks,
hand
guys.
for our guests, Jared and Noel, everybody. Very nice. Appreciate your time and all that great free advice, by the way. Take in that free advice, everybody. It was excellent. We got a lot of stuff to tell you about before we roll. And the other sponsor of our Friday the 13th show, speaking of building, is Michael Stewart. Michael Stewart is a structural engineer. He's somebody that you can trust if you're putting together a new home on Fort Myers Beach or anywhere. He's got his act together. He can design any structure, residential or commercial. He also designs mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. His residential services range from new custom homes directly on the Gulf Bay or the side streets. He starts with the survey and the client's hand-drawn sketches. Then he generates all the documents for permitting. And he's really a smart guy. He's a smart guy. You want a smart guy helping you with your new home. You don't want a dumb guy or a dumb person. I don't mean to just say that structural engineers are just guys. You want a very smart person, and Michael Stewart is a smart person. And look at that. He's Florida registered. His registration number is 72459. So you can look it up if you want. And you can look at some of his work on his website at mstewartpe.com, or you can call him on his cell phone at 239-292-7670. And thanks to Michael Stewart and Alex King for getting everyone in free to our Friday the 13th pool party that we're having right outside this very building at that lovely pool over there. We're going to be doing a show on Friday the 13th to benefit the Fort Myers Beach Women's Club because they have a new building that they're trying to build. Gosh, it's so windy here. And we got a few more sponsors we tell you about. Yeah, if you want to come to the Friday the 13th free show, just grab a flyer and bring it with you next Friday. Eagle Eye Aluminum is also one of our sponsors, and they specialize in seamless gutters. They do aluminum and vinyl soffit and faucet repairs or full replacement. Tom also does rescreen work. So if you've got a pool cage that needs rescreening and you want to make sure you keep the bugs out and the no-see-ums and the butterflies, just to make sure that the butterfly doesn't get in and can't get out, because when the butterflies get in and they can't get out, then they die, because we've had a couple in our backyard because we have holes in our pool cage and I'm too lazy to fix them. Give Tom Coleman a call at Eagle Eye Aluminum. Hey, dear, the lawyers aren't going anywhere. Can we finish the show together just once? Give Tom a call at 239. I mean, she's over there leaning up on the bar, talking to the lawyers like, yeah, how do I get rid of this clown over here? I mean, how do I get a lawyer to get rid of this clown?
Did
you ask about it? They were divorce lawyers?
Yes, exactly
Nice.
what I just asked them. Yep.
Tom
Just in
Coleman,
case.
239-340-1639. And finally, the Pancake House is open. Yay! The Pancake House in the
We
Seagrave
gotta
Plaza.
get there.
They are open for breakfast and lunch. And for you beach people, they have a full bar. So if you're not hungry and you just want to walk down to the Seagrave Plaza and have a drink, go down and see Brian and Stacy. And they are open now. They are local, and you can have your breakfast made to order. 7:30 in the morning, he's out there on the griddle making pancakes and bacon and eggs, and they have lunch and the long menu. I think we have menus here if somebody wants to take one. Or you can give Brian a call and just say, hello, Brian, I'm glad you're open. 320-360-3826. Go to the Pancake Islands Pancake House at the Seagrave Plaza here on Fort Myers Beach. All right, we have a busy week coming up, wife.
Yeah.
And then you're going to Africa.
Well, not for a month.
You're going
It's
to Africa?
1 month away. I gotta start packing though, because
Takes you a
I
month
don't
to
wanna-
pack.
Well, it's a long trip and you got to bring a lot of stuff.
What are you doing when you go to Africa?
So we're going to be putting in clotheslines and building church benches while we're there.
I'm surprised
And
they didn't
then-
ask me to go
For what?
to build the church benches.
Yeah, right. They want them to not fall. And
What part of
and work
Africa?
with the kids.
What part of Africa are you going to?
Going to Kenya and then down to Tanzania, where you cannot wear anything blue.
Really?
So
Why?
everything I'm wearing is tan, which
Why
is
can't you
perfect.
wear blue?
I guess the flies, the tsetse flies, are attracted to blue. So
Now, did you get a malaria shot? And what are the
I got
shots
a
that you need
yellow-
to get?
I got yellow fever and typhoid, and I have malaria pills and
Wow.
stuff for upset tummies.
I see. And did you have to get a COVID shot?
You don't have to.
I
No.
see. Good.
No.
All right. So we have next week a busy week going on. Bob, where's our help here? Where's our helper? We got some customers, Bob. Help out here. On the 12th of September, we have our debate at 5:30 at Nervous Nellies with all 4 candidates for the 3 spots that are open. So please come down to that show on the 12th. Then on the 13th, we have the pool party, which is free if you have a flyer to benefit the Women's Club. The Women's Club is going to have a tent set up where you can buy a picture for the mosaic wall in the Yellow Army Lounge on Sterling Avenue is where the building is going to be built. Then on the 14th, we're going to be at Revive the Vibe. Oh, my gosh.
Too cute.
Too cute. How old do you think that baby is right there? I know you can't see the baby.
15 months?
1 year old. She's 59 years younger than us. Wow.
She's walking good for
Yeah.
a year.
You just gave it away? Thank you very much. Just giving away our product here. And then Revive the Vibe is the 14th, and then the Mayor Show on the 15th, and then our lunch on the 28th. So a lot of stuff going on. Thank you again to everybody for coming out last night for the Packer party. We're working on more football plans now that they have the package down here. We'll let you all know.
And if you do have a question, call these lawyers. We've had another lawyer on the show. Don't feel like
Yeah, don't be
embarrassed
afraid.
about doing it.
Yeah.
Because they were sharing a story with me about a highly educated person who just willy-nilly signed a contract
Lost
because
his
the
money.
person was under stress. And it really was somebody who should have known better. So it happens. But go
Yeah.
get it fixed.
All right, everybody. After the show, I'm going to take a walk across the street to see if Chester's here. I have a check for $5,400 to give to Chester for all the stuff that he lost.
Thank you.
There are 2 pictures right now. There are 2 pictures on our Facebook page that kind of identify who the folks are. We're trying to get video of the folks that took Chester stuff and threw it in the drink. So if you recognize the people in the pictures or you know somebody that rides around on one of those bikes and you can let LCSO know, that would be great. But you guys raised $5,400 in 2 hours yesterday, and we're going to drop the check off to him so he can get his art supply. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Mayor's Show at Wahoo Willie's. Bye-bye.